This is Goku-san DBZ and welcome back for a new Top 20 list. This time we are looking at, in my personal opinion, 20 of the absolute best soundtracks of all time from the PlayStation 1 era. I've already done Top 20 favorite or Top 20 best, in my opinion, 16-bit soundtracks. This time we're looking at, in my opinion, 20 of the absolute best PS1 soundtracks. First up, from a classic JRPG, if you've not played, I highly recommend giving a shot. But number 20 favorite game soundtrack from the PS1 era is a little JRPG called Lunar Silver Star Story. Arguably one of the best JRPG experiences on the PlayStation 1 era, as well as one of the absolute best 2D JRPGs of all time, in my opinion, on the PS1. Coming in at number 9 is arguably one of the best fighting game soundtracks of this era, and that is, coming at 19, is X-Men vs. Street Fighter. A superb, great fighting game soundtrack I highly recommend to anyone. Coming in at number 18, one of the best platformer soundtracks of this era, and that is Mega Man 8. Coming in at number 17, also with 8 in the title, is, in my opinion, a superb vehicular combat game series. Only 2 games total, and in many ways I enjoy. I think musically is superior to Twisted Metal. Coming in at number 17 is Vigilante 8. Coming in at number 16, an all-time cult classic from the PS1 era and from Capcom. Definitely a game that is very beloved by many Capcom hardcore fans and fighting game enthusiasts of this time period. Coming at number 16 is the game soundtrack Rival Schools. Coming in at number 15, needs no introduction as it is a great action game with a lot of great, really, it was ahead of its time period. It was a cinematic experience of a game for the PS1 era, with great classic characters like Psycho Mantis and many others. Coming in at number 15 is Metal Gear Solid. Coming in at 14, one of the best, I think, one of the more unique fighting game soundtracks of this time period, as well as one of the best fighting games you could play of 2D experiences on the PS1, and even better on the Saturn. But coming in at number 14, Darkstalkers 3, better well known in Japan, is Vampire Savior. Coming in at 13 is a great horror game, or not horror game, but fighting game, where you transform into part animal, part human hybrids called Zoranthropes. Coming in at number 13, if you love heavy metal, you're gonna love this soundtrack. At 13 is Bloody Roar 2: The New Breed, which seriously a great amount of good heavy metal music. And like I said, if you're a metal hard rock fan, you're gonna love Bloody Roar 2 soundtrack. Coming in on number 12, we're gonna go with a bit more softer side, but very eerie and creepy collective type music. At number 12 is Silent Hill, which is a true classic. I don't hold it quite as high regard soundtrack as Silent Hill 2. But we'll get to that in the future when we talk about PS2 soundtracks. Coming in next at number 11, one of the best early 3D era soundtracks of all time, and one of the best early 3D era fighting games in my opinion. Coming at number 11 of soundtracks is Tekken 2. And I will always love the music for Roger/Alex, Boxing Kangaroo and Boxing Velociraptor. Great piece of music I love no matter what. Coming in at number 10, you want like looming, intimidating, creepy, eerie. Don't look any farther than this great masterpiece in my when it comes to atmosphere, whether it be the music combined with creepy like sounds like whistling, eerie wind and sounds in the background. Makes the creepiness factor a lot better. At number 10 is the Resident Evil 2 soundtrack. If you don't believe me, check out the actual music from Resident Evil 2 and you'll see what I mean when it comes to atmospheric. One of the best creepy early, I think, day horror game music. When it comes down to it, it is great, and I think it is at the pinnacle of early survival horror, all around. Coming in at number 9 is another one of the Versus series, the soundtrack to Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, which I think is just a little bit better than X-Men vs. Street Fighter. The music is superb, it is perfect for every character, love it, even the remixes. Coming in at number 8, you want something that has a bit of an RPG feel, but also an eeriness to it of like a survival horror. Look no farther than at number 8, the soundtrack to Parasite Eve. Next, coming in at number 7, one of the best, I think, soundtracks of the X series by far. Coming at number 7 is the soundtrack to Mega Man X4, which is great. Seriously, I hold Mega Man X4 soundtrack very high up there. Coming in at number 6, go back again to another classic 3D fighting game, and you can't beat. I personally like a lot of the arcade versions better than the remixes for console, but it's good it offers both you can choose from. Coming at number 6 is the soundtrack to Tekken 3. Coming in at number 5 is arguably, as I've already mentioned, is in my opinion one of the absolute best 16-bit soundtracks of all time and fighting game soundtracks. Coming at number 5, favorite soundtrack for PS1, Mortal Kombat 3. Coming in at number 4, very well known for its music and greatness. Coming at number 4 is the soundtrack to Final Fantasy VII. Coming in next, at number 3, we again go to Square. Number 3 is the soundtrack to Final Fantasy IX. Coming in at number 2 is arguably the best soundtrack of an early 3D era fighting game, and easily the best fighting game soundtrack on the PS1. Coming in at number 2 goes to Soul Blade, better well known as Soul Edge. Now, coming in at number 1, needs no introduction, you hear the music in the background to my number 1 favorite PS1 soundtrack of all time, Final Fantasy VIII. I think it's the best Final Fantasy soundtrack of all time. It is arguably easily my favorite PS1 soundtrack, and of course my number 1 favorite RPG of all time and number 1 favorite video game of all time. I mean, I went out of my way years back to get the official physical release of the Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack, complete every single piece of music, as it is 4 CDs in total length. I love this to this day. I will continue playing this music as it is superb. But with that said, this is just a list of 20 of easily, in my opinion, the best soundtracks of the PS1 era. So leave a comment below. In your opinion, what are some of the absolute best video game soundtracks of the PS1 era? So with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe out there, and have a good 2023.